Hare Krishna, welcome everyone to our Srimad Bhagavatam overview class. We'll begin with our prayers. Om Ajnanatimirandhasya Jnananjana Shalakaya Chakshurunmilitam Yena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha. Shri Chaitanya Manobhishtam Sthapitam Yena Bhutale Swayam Rupa Kadamahiyam Dadati Swapadantikam Vandeham Shri Guru Shri Yuta Padakamalam Shri Gurun Vaishnavamscha श्रीरूपं साग्रजातां सहगणा रघुनाथान्वितं तं सजीवं साद्वैतं सावधूतं परिजनसहितं कृष्णचैतन्यदेवं श्रीराधा कृष्णपादान् सहगणा ललिता श्रीविशाखान्वितांश्च हे कृष्णा करुणा सिंधु दीनबंधु जगतपते गोपेश गोपिका कांत राधा कांत नमोस्तुते तप्त कांचन गौरांगी राधे वृंदावनेश्वरी वृषभानुसुते देवी प्रणमामि हरिप्रिये वाञ्छाकल्पतरुभ्यश्च कृपा सिन्धुभ्य एव च पतितानां पावनेभ्यो वैष्णवेभ्यो नमो नमः नमः ॐ विष्णुपादाय कृष्णपृष्ठाय भूतले श्रीमते भक्तिवेदांत स्वामी निति नामिने नमस्ते सरस्वती देवे गौरवाणी प्रचारिणे निर्विशेष शून्यवादी पाश्चात्य देश तारिणे जय श्री कृष्ण चैतन्य प्रभु नित्यानंद श्री अद्वैत गदाधार श्रीवासदि गौर भक्तवृंद हरे कृष्णा 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 हरे 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 राम 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 हरे हरे Hare Krishna, welcome everyone. We are discussing from the 10th canto of Srimad Bhagavatam, and last time we discussed the beautiful episode and pastime of Krishna kidnapping Rukmini. We heard how Rukmini Devi, she wrote a beautiful letter pleading Krishna to come and kidnap her. And overnight, Krishna reached from Dwarka to Kundinapur, and in front of everyone's eyes, he kidnapped Rukmini Devi. And he lifted Rukmini Devi onto the chariot, and just like a lion, removes the prey from the midst of all the jackals, Krishna, he just lifted Rukmini Devi and slowly, very regally, he exited. Everybody was stunned, and all the princes who had assembled, they started condemning themselves. Oh, damn us! How is it possible that this cowherd has stolen our honor? So in this way, they were regretting. So that's what we discussed. So in the 54th chapter, today we'll be discussing the marriage of Krishna and Rukmini. The chapter is entitled. Shukdev Goswami continues the story. All the kings, when they saw that Krishna has kidnapped Rukmini, they put on their armor and all the various paraphernalia. They mounted their chariots and they started chasing Krishna. Krishna was not alone. He had come with, so Balramji had come with all the Yadava army. So commanders of the Yadava army, when they saw that these enemies they are attacking, they came and confronted all these kings. The enemy kings, they started showering arrows, and the army of Yadus, it seemed that they were covered by the cloud of arrows. Rukmini Devi, when she saw this situation of the Yadava army, being covered by the powerful arrows of all the enemies, she became very fearful and shyly, just now, she was kidnapped by Krishna. Shyly, she looked at Krishna with fear-stricken eyes. Her eyes were full of fear. And Krishna, just like, he's a supreme Lord, he is Antaryami, and now it was obvious that Rukmini Devi is fearful. So Lord, he assures Rukmini Devi, very beautiful verse. Prahasya bhagavanaha masma bhairvamalochane vinangshtyadhunaitvaitat tavakai shatravam balam So this is a very hope-giving verse. In this verse, Krishna is telling to Rukmini, Prahasya. Actually, he laughed, So because Rukmini Devi is fearful and Krishna is laughing, and he assured, Bhagwan Aha, he spoke, Masma Bhai Vam Lochane. Oh beautiful eyed one, please do not fear. Vinangshati adhunai tat. Vinangshati. The soldiers, Vinangshati, they will destroy. Whose soldiers are they? Tavakai Shastravam Balam. Your soldiers will destroy the enemies very quickly. So this shows the nature of Krishna. Just now, Krishna has not even married Rukmini, but he has already given everything to Rukmini. He is telling, your army will defeat the enemies very soon. Don't fear. That's how Krishna is not a jealous type of master who thinks, no, everything is for me only. I cannot give everything to my servants and subordinates. Krishna is a very, very magnanimous master. He is waiting for living entities to return and turn their face towards him. He's waiting when the living entities will come and when he'll share all his opulences with them. So Krishna is ready to share all his opulences with his devotees. What we have to do, just like Rukmini, she took a leap of faith and she showed such courage. Being a woman, especially 5,000 years back, to write a letter to a man unknown, it was not a normal trend. It was a great risk she was taking, because that time lady would not even go out of the house if unless she's married. Alone she'll not go out of the house. And now Rukmini Devi is writing letter to a apparently unknown king, unknown prince. So therefore we have to take a leap of faith. We have heard so many things about process of Krishna consciousness. We have so many of the seniors, spiritual masters, Srila Prabhupada, they are giving us assurance. They are telling, just follow this process and you'll become successful. We have to take that leap of faith, and for sure Krishna is ready to share his opulences. Krishna is ready to give everything to us. It depends on our capacity. Just like if somebody has a small patra, small vessel, he'll get only that much of food. If in Abhishek, after Abhishek in a festival, if the temple authorities tell that, okay, we are going to distribute Charnamrit and bring your vessels. If somebody brings a small glass, he will get only that much. If somebody brings a big bottle, he'll get that much. So therefore it depends on our intense eagerness. Krishna bhakti ras bhavitamati kriyatam yadi kutopi labhyate tatra laulyam api mulyame kalam janma koti sukritirna labhyate. So the Krishna bhakti rasa, wherever it is available, please buy. But to buy, we have to pay a price. What is the price? Tatra laulyam api mulyam ekalam. Only price we have to pay is our eagerness. So therefore we have to show our eagerness, and then Krishna will give everything. But we have to show our eagerness. We have to be eager. Prabhupada many times he said, I am giving mercy to everyone, but somebody takes advantage and others they don't. So mercy of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu is there flowing. Chaitanya avatare vahe premamrita vanya sabajiva preme bhase prithvi haila dhanya ye banya je na bhase sei jiva char koti janme kabhutar nahi kanistar. By the advent of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, the river of love of God is flowing. and he's drowning everybody in this river. But if somebody does not, get this nectar, then he is so very unfortunate. So it depends on everybody's individual eagerness to get this mercy, and then Krishna is there ready to give everything to us. Tavakai Shastravam Balam. This is your army. Krishna is telling, this is your property, this is your opulence. So Krishna, he desires to share his bliss with all the living entities. He is experiencing, just like Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, he is experiencing that prema rasa niryas karite aswadan ragamarg bhakti loke korite pracharan. He is himself experiencing, and then he is giving this to everybody. आपनी करी आश्वादने शिखाइला भक्त गणे प्रेम चिंता मणि प्रभु धनी नहीं जाने स्थान स्थान यारे तारे कोइल दान महाप्रभु दाता शिरोमणि. So he is himself tasting and he is distributing this love to everybody. He's not thinking this person is qualified, this person is not qualified. Giving everyone without any discrimination. So therefore, Krishna is ready to share his bliss with every one of us. It depends on us. Are we ready to take that leap of faith? Are we ready to surrender? If yes, then Krishna will give everything. Otherwise, if we surrender to Maya, okay, anyways, Krishna is not going to come. Anyways, this path of bhakti is not so easy. Let me at least enjoy this material world. Then we are lost. Tavakai Shastravam Balam. So then, as Krishna said that all the great warriors of the armies, Yadu army, headed by Krishna and Balram, they could not tolerate this attack of the opponents. They started shooting arrows, and their arrows were very, very powerful. The iron arrows which they were shooting, they started striking down all the enemies. And it was a huge army which had come. The armies were consisting of cavalry, the horses, elephants, chariot warriors. And then with the attack of these Yadava warriors, the whole field was full of the various bodily parts of these soldiers. The heads of the soldiers were falling, the heads of the elephants and the horses, they were getting cut and falling on the ground. Millions of soldiers were dying, their heads being cut off, their bodily parts somewhere there, and it was whole full of rivers of blood. The hands and the legs and the head, it was all getting cut. Those who were remaining, when they saw this condition of their army, all the enemy warriors, they became so very fearful. They fled away. They could not tolerate. They became so very discouraged. They ran away. Shishupal, he became so disturbed. It was as if Shishupal, he was thinking he has lost his wife, although he didn't get married to Rukmini, but still he was thinking, now almost I am married to Rukmini only. So his face dried up, his complexion became pale, and he became really morose. All the enemies, all the allies, kings, they came and they started consoling. They started consoling Shishupal, headed by Jarasandha. Bho bho purusha shardula daurmanasya idam tyaja na priya priyo rajan nishtha dehi shudrishyate. So the Jarasandha is telling, Bho bho purusha shardula, O great king Purusha Shardula, best of the men, Daurmanasya idam teja. Are give up your depression. Are why you are getting depressed? Durmanasya chhod do. Give up your distressed face and depression. Na priya priya Rajan. In this world, he started speaking a very nice philosophy. He's telling Bhagavad Gita philosophy. He's telling, in this world, nothing is permanent. Priya, apriya, happiness and distress, it is not permanent. Matra sparshastu kaunteya, shitoshna sukha dukkada, agama apayino, anitya tantritikshasu bharat. This is the philosophy he's telling. So this is a very recurrent thing which comes in Bhagavatam. All the powerful demons, maybe maybe Hiranyakashipu or Kamsa or Jarasandh, everybody knows the philosophy, but they use it for the wrong things. So Jarasandh is telling, oh, why are you getting depressed? Happiness and distress, they are never permanent. Don't worry. Yatha daru mai yoshit nityate kuhake kshaya evam ishvara tantroyam ihate sukha dukkhayo. He's telling, just like a puppet is controlled by the puppeteer, in this world, everything is controlled by the Supreme Lord. Evam Ishvara Tantroyam. Are Bhagwan ki ichha se sab hota hai. He does not know that the same Bhagwan has kidnapped Rukmini. He is not realizing that the same Lord has kidnapped Rukmini. And he's telling, in the battle I was defeated by Krishna and I lost my 23 Akshauhini divisions 17 times. अरे देखो यहाँ पे सामने पोलस्टार खड़ा है. I was defeated 17 times, but still I did not become discouraged. Only once I could defeat him, and that was also the pastime of Krishna. He ran away because he was waiting for the letter of Rukmini Devi. He's saying, still I never repent. I never lament or I never rejoice. Sama dukkha sukha dhira. He's telling, I am dhira. I don't lament, I don't rejoice, because I know that this world is driven by time. The same philosophy which Bhishma Devi is telling in the first canto to Yudhishthir Maharaj. Sarvam kalakritam manye bhavatam chayada priyam sapalo yadvashe loko vayo riva ghanavali. Bhishma also told the same thing. Are in this world everything is done by the time. Just like the air carries the clouds away, everybody in this world is moved by the powerful time factor. And then Bhishma, he knows. That is the difference between Bhishma and Jarasandha. After telling the time factor which is working, he is telling, Are, this Krishna, Supreme Lord, Yanmanyase Matuleyam Mitram Surit Priyattamam. You are thinking this Krishna as your cousin, as your friend. He is not any ordinary person. Eshavai Bhagavan Sakshat Adyo Narayana Puman Mohayan Maya Lokan Gudha Sharati Vrishnishu. Are, he is that Supreme Lord. He is the time factor personified. He bewilders everyone. So Jarasandha is also telling the same thing, that time is making everything in this world. And he's telling now all of us, we have been defeated by this Yadu army. But don't worry, it is just a time factor which is protecting Krishna. Now, because of time factor, Krishna won. He didn't know that that time factor is Krishna only. Ripavo jigyur adhuna kala atmanusarini tada vayam vijayashyamo yada kala pradakshinaha. He's telling, now our armies have been conquered by the enemies. Don't worry about that. In future, when time is favorable, we will defeat them. We shall conquer them. Why are you getting disturbed and depressed like this? Don't worry, it is all time which is working. That is how the demoniac quality is. Ishwaroham aham bhogi siddhoham balvan sukhi. I am the controller, I am the enjoyer, I am the proprietor. Asatyam apratishtham te jagadahur anishwaram aparaspara sambhutam kimanyat kama hetukam. Bhagavad Gita, Krishna is telling, the demoniac people, what they think, they have this understanding that this world is just made to enjoy. Kama hetukam. There is no Ishwar in control. So Jarasandha is telling, oh, don't worry, it is all time factor which is working. We'll defeat them in future in due course of time. Don't worry about that. So Shukdev Goswami, he continues. Now, Shishupal, being consoled by all the kings, he went back, and the other people, they also went back to their respective kingdoms. But there was one person who was affected the most. That was Rukmi. Rukmi, because he was envious of Krishna, and he had taken a vow. He had taken a vow that I shall not enter Kundina, his capital, unless I kill Krishna in the battle and bring Rukmini back. That was the vow he took when Krishna kidnapped Rukmini. So he took an army, mounted a chariot, and started chasing Krishna. He started thinking, this wicked-minded cowherd boy has kidnapped my daughter, my sister. He's so very lowly. Today I will remove his pride. That is what envy does. When somebody is overcome by envy, he loses all his good sense, all his good intelligence is lost. He is not even seeing that just now Krishna and his army has defeated such a huge army of Jarasandha and Shishupal. But he single alone with a small army, he is going to fight with Krishna. Chakravarti Thakur writes that, actually this Rukmi has another meaning when he's saying this. He says, I will today, what will happen? Today I will have my pride removed by the power of Krishna. My pride will be crushed today. Because Krishna is a cowherd boy, he is so very merciful that he is so merciful to wicked people like me also. So in this way, Chakravarti Thakur, he explains. Rukmi, boasting about himself, he approached Krishna and he roared, challenged, just stand and fight. Why are you running away? He drew his bow and he struck the Lord with 3 arrows. And he said, stand here. Don't go anywhere. Fight with me wherever you go. Wherever you go carrying off my sister, I will follow you. I will not allow you to carry Rukmini. And today I shall remove your false pride. That's how arrogant he was. And he started chasing Krishna and he said, release this girl before I shoot you down, before you are struck by my arrows, release this girl. Krishna, when he heard all this, he smiled. He took his bow and arrow, he released 6 arrows and he broke the bow of Rukmi. And then he released so many arrows. He struck down the horses of Rukmi with 4 arrows, and then with 8 arrows he struck the chariot driver with 2 arrows. 2 more arrows, he destroyed the flag, and then entire chariot of Rukmi was destroyed. Rukmi, he had so many bows, he kept grabbing one after another bows, but Krishna destroyed all of them. He picked so many other weapons, javelins, spears, and shield. Everything was destroyed by Krishna. Then Rukmi, not finding any other weapon, he took a sword and he ran towards Krishna. Krishna, he started shooting arrows and he broke that sword also. He was about to kill Rukmi. But Rukmini, when she saw my brother is going to get killed, soft-hearted lady. So she became full of fear. She fell down at the feet of Krishna and she started pleading. Actually, Chakravarti Thakur writes that, what Rukmini is thinking. She's thinking, what will people think if they know that my brother was killed before my eyes? So she became fearful because Krishna's reputation will be destroyed and her reputation will be destroyed. She was not having much affection for her brother, but she was thinking, oh, reputation of Krishna will be destroyed. So Rukmini, she started praying to Krishna, oh Krishna, you are the supreme controller, you are the master of all the mistakes, you are all auspicious. Please do not kill my brother. Please don't create inauspiciousness here. Shukdev Goswami says that because of the fear, Rukmini, she was really trembling. All her limbs were trembling, her throat was getting choked and dried up, and very, full of fear, she grabbed the feet of Krishna and he was pleading. And Krishna, when he saw this condition of Rukmini, he stopped. He was thinking, Rukmini Devi, she was thinking that I should do something so that, people, they do not blame me. And Krishna was thinking, okay, I will not kill Rukmini, but I should do something so that he does not come again and create disturbance. So Krishna, he tied up Rukmini, and he disfigured Rukmini. He gave a comic haircut to Rukmini. He removed some parts of the hair and some parts of the beard and half of the mustache, and he just humiliated Rukmini so much. And in the meanwhile, the Yadava army, he destroyed all the army of the Rukmini. Balramji, by that time Balramji also came. And Balramji, he saw this situation, this condition of Rukmini. He became very compassionate towards Rukmini, and he released Rukmini and he spoke. He started counseling Rukmini and he started chastising Krishna. He said, Lord Balram, he told Krishna, oh Krishna, my dear Krishna, you are acting improperly. One should not behave in this way with his relatives. You have disfigured, you have shaved comically Rukmini, it is as good as killing him. And then he told Rukmini, he said, oh saintly lady, please do not be displeased. Sometimes, in the Kshatriya relationships, these things happen. And after all, everybody is suffering the results of his own karma. Again, Krishna, he addressed Krishna. So he's going back and forth, counseling Rukmini also and chastising little bit Krishna also. He said, a relative should never be given such a capital punishment. So please do not, and you have done such a injustice to Rukmini by disfiguring him. It is not good. And then he turned to Rukmini again and he said, oh Rukmini Devi, what can be done to follow the duty of a Kshatriya? Sometimes the Kshatriya has to, kill his own brother if necessary. So don't blame Krishna. And then again he addressed Krishna. He said, proud men, they cheat others for the sake of kingdom, wealth, honor. So you should not have done like this, because he did it, Rukmini did it for wrong reasons. Why you are behaving like this? Again, he turned to Rukmini and said, Tavesham Vishama Buddhi Sarvabhuteshu Durridam Yanmanyase Sada Bhadram Suridam Bhadramadhyavat. He told Rukmini that, oh Rukmini, your attitude is unfair. Why? Because you are wishing good for a person who is on the side of Shishupal, who is inimical to all the living entities. So this is not good that you are trying to protect a person who is inimical. who is evil. Rukmini may say, I know my brother is evil, but still I have some attachment to her, to him as a relative. What can I do? आत्ममोहो नृणामेव कल्पते देवमायया सुहृद दुर्हृद उदासीना इति देहात्ममानिनाम. Balramji tells, Supreme Lord, Supreme Lord's Maya, the Maya Shakti makes one forget the real self, and a person starts identifying with the bodily relationships. That's what happens in the world. When we come in this world, we think, oh, this is my father, mother, sister, brother, wife, children. And we forget our real relationship with the Supreme Lord. And we start getting entangled in so many of the relationships which are temporary. We forget the eternal relationship with the Supreme Self. So in this way, Balramji, he is instructing Rukmini. He says, in this world, people, they are illusioned. They are illusioned by Maya Devi. And therefore, they think that, oh, that Supreme Lord, he is impersonal Brahman. He is all pervading and he does not have a personal form. So very philosophical discussion is going on here. And then he describes how the soul is eternal, soul never undergoes any change. So it is very, very important that when we hear all these, anybody hears all these spiritual instructions, the philosophy, he becomes sober. That is very, very important to bring a person to the reality of the world. In the glamour of this mundane material world, many times we are so very entangled that we forget the realities of the world. We start identifying with the body and the mind. So therefore, the philosophy of Krishna consciousness is very, very important. Siddhant boliya jeev chitte na kar alas iha haite Krishna lagi sudrid manas. Whenever philosophy starts, many times even devotees, they become bored. Arey, the same philosophy we have heard so many times. Pastimes, they are very attractive. Yeah, of course, pastimes, to hear pastimes is very good, very attractive. But if we imbibe the philosophy deeply, we'll stay in Krishna consciousness. Prabhupada, he would tell his devotees, if you distribute my books, you will stay happy. If you read them, you will stay. So if you want to stay in Krishna consciousness, we have to read the philosophy of Krishna consciousness. We have to hear the pastimes of Krishna. That is the crucial thing. Otherwise, we'll become weak in our convictions. Ei leelamrit vine khaye yadi anna pane tabe bhakter durbala जीवन. यार एक बिंदु पाने उत्फुल्लित तनु मने हासे गाए करो ए नर्तने. Kaviraj Goswami tells, if a devotee is not hearing regularly the philosophy of Krishna consciousness, he'll become weak in his convictions. Doubts will overcome his mind. Doubts are like the weeds. If you are not, just like in the forest, there is a forest path. In the rainy season, if there is nobody walking on that path, the path gets covered by the weeds. If we are not regularly reading our scriptures, Bhagavad Gita, Bhagavatam, Chaitanya Charitamrit, the weeds of doubts will cover our consciousness. So that's why Balramji, although Rukmini Devi is supreme goddess of fortune, but still Balramji is instructing all these things to her. And then in the end, he tells that, oh, Rukmini, therefore, please dispel your grief with this transcendental knowledge. Tasmad ajnana jam shokam atma shosha vimohanam tattva jnanena nirhritya swastha bhava shuchi smite. He's telling, Agyan jam shoka. Why a person becomes sad and laments because of ignorance. Agyan jam shoka. Ignorance leads to lamentation. When we are ignorant about our real self, we start lamenting. We start thinking, oh, this is me and this is mine. Tattva Gyan, when one takes shelter of Tattva Gyan, transcendental knowledge, then one becomes free from the illusion and lamentation. So hearing all this philosophy, Rukmini Devi, she forgot all her depression, and her mind became very steady. And then Rukmi, he could not forget this insult, because he was just so much insulted, and he could not go back to the kingdom because he had taken a vow. So he created another city outside his kingdom, and he started staying there, because a Kshatriya cannot beg. So he created another city of the name Bhojkata. He did not enter Kundina. So Krishna, he brought Rukmini back and married her. Shukadeva Goswami describes the wonderful marriage which happens. Krishna married Rukmini along according to the Vedic injunctions. There was a great festival on this occasion. All the Yadavas and the Vrishnis and Andhaka, Bhoja dynasty, everybody had come. Everybody in Yadupuri, in Dwarka, was rejoicing. All the men and women, they were dressed beautifully, gorgeously, with all the wonderful ornaments and jewelry, and everybody came with so many gifts for the bride and the groom. Entire city was decorated. As always, Dwarka was beautiful, but on this occasion it was decorated with such wonderful paraphernalia. All the columns and the archways, they were decorated with festoons and flower garlands and banners. The roads, the crossroads and the major avenues, they were sprinkled with scented water. The elephants were sprinkling water everywhere with their trunks. Everywhere on the street sides and on the crossroads, beautiful decoration was made. Everybody from the royal family, they came together, they met each other, and they were so very joyful. And so many people from other provinces also came. Kuru dynasty came, Srinjaya, Kaikeya, Vidarbha, Yadu, everybody came. So Vidarbha, from where Rukmini was, all the people from Vidarbha also came, because Bhishmaka, he always wanted to marry Rukmini with Krishna. So Bhishmaka also came, and he came with all the sages, all the other elders of the Bhishmaka, of the Vidarbha also came. Balramji arranged all the wonderful accommodation for them. So all the kings and their daughters, when they came and they witnessed such a wonderful celebration, they were astonished. They glorified the marriage of Krishna everywhere. And the citizens of Dwarka, they were so very happy. They were overjoyed. So that is the end of this chapter. Then after the marriage of Rukmini and Krishna, Shukadeva Goswami continues the first child of Rukmini and Krishna. So the 55th chapter is entitled The History of Pradyumna. So Pradyumna was born before Krishna married to Jambavati and other queens. So the marriage took place, and after that, so Rukmini and Krishna got married, and Krishna begot Pradyumna, but Pradyumna was stolen. And then Krishna married to Jambavati and the other queens. So in this regard, as a continuity, Shukadeva Goswami describes the story of Pradyumna, full story of Pradyumna, not that, just the birth. He describes the whole story of Pradyumna. And then after that, he'll describe the marriage of Krishna with Jambavati and all the 5 other queens, Satyabhama and other 5 queens. So Pradyumna, he is actually the incarnation of Kamadev, and he's also an eternal associate of the Lord. So the 2 expansions, 2 amshas are there in the same body. Just like in Drona, in the body of Vasudev, Drona is there and eternal Vasudev is also there. So that's how in the body of Pradyumna, the Kamadev is also there, and the eternal part. So one of the Chaturvyuha, Pradyumna, the eternal Chaturvyuha, Pradyumna, Sankarshan, Aniruddha, and Vasudev. So Pradyumna is one of the Chaturvyuha. He appeared as a son of Krishna, and in that the Devata portion was Kamadev. So Shukdev Goswami continues the story of Pradyumna. He says, Kamadev, he had been burned to ashes previously by the wrath of Lord Shiva, because Lord Shiva was in meditation, and and everybody wanted Lord Shiva to get married again, because Sati, she burnt herself, and Lord Shiva was in meditation. So Indra sent Kamadev, but Kamadev was burnt. Rudra, Lord Shiva, became angry and he burnt Kamadev. And this Kamadev, to obtain a new body, he merged in the body of Vasudev. And then Shukdev Goswami continues, he took birth from the womb of Rukmini, Vaidarbhi, and he received the name Pradyumna. And in external features, he was exactly same as Krishna. And actually in all the respects, he was equal to his father. Then, as soon as this Pradyumna took birth, there was a demon called Shambarasur. So Shambarasur, he was informed by Narad Muni that, this son of Krishna, he will be the cause of your death. That's how Narad Muni is. He is always facilitating the various pastimes of Krishna. So he informed Shambarasur that this Kamadev, he has appeared as Pradyumna and he'll become the cause of your death. So therefore, please do the needful. So Shambarasur, he came, and on the 6th day of the birth, after birth, he kidnapped Kamadev. He kidnapped Pradyumna from the maternity ward, and he threw Pradyumna in the sea. And then he thought, oh, now Pradyumna is killed. But there was a huge fish which swallowed this small baby, and this fish was caught in the net and seized by some fishermen, and it was presented to the king Shambarasur only. So Shambarasur, when he saw that fish, he became very happy, such a huge fish. So he gave that fish to the kitchen in charge to cook. So when the head cook, when he saw this fish, huge fish, and he began to cut the fish, he saw a baby, living baby in the womb of this, in the belly of this fish. He was astonished. First of all, how come this child came in the womb of this, in the belly of this fish, and how come he's still alive? So then, along with that head cook, there was a lady who was assisting. Her name was Mayavati. And Mayavati, she was actually Rati. Rati is the wife of Kamadev. So Narad Muni again appeared to Mayavati and he told the whole story. So Mayavati also was shocked. How come this child is still alive in the womb? Who is he? And she knew that, oh, she's Rati. She was waiting for her husband, and she was thinking, maybe, he's my husband, or maybe he's some other devata. So Narad Muni came and he told her everything, that this is your husband Kamadev. Please take care of him. He has entered the womb he has appeared from the womb of Rukmini, and on the sixth day, Shambharasur, he kidnapped him and he tried to kill him by throwing in the sea. But now he is here, he's saved. So Mayavati, because she was the wife of Cupid, she was waiting for her husband, and she understood, oh, now my husband has come. She started taking care of her husband very nicely. Matsya Puran describes why Mayavati was waiting for Kamdev in the palace of Shambharasur. So it so happened that when Kamadev was burnt by Lord Shiva, this Rati, the wife of Kamadev, she started doing tapasya to please Lord Shiva. And at the same time, Shambharasur was doing tapasya to please Lord Shiva. So Rati came, appeared in front of Lord Shiva, and Shambharasur also came at the same time. So when Shambharasur he saw Rati, he became attracted to her. And Lord Shiva, he first asked Shambharasur, what do you want? Please ask for benediction. So Shambharasur said, I want Rati. So Lord Shiva, he turned to Rati and he said, go with him and your desire will be fulfilled, because she wanted her husband. So she, following the instructions and the order of Lord Shiva, she went with Shambharasur. But Rati, because she is also a goddess, she bewildered Shambharasur and she remained in the house of Shambharasur without being touched by him. That's the whole story. So when the small boy came out of the belly of fish, in a short time he grew, he became youth. So earlier, this Mayavati, she was serving as a mother, and immediately when the child grew up, she started showing the emotions of a lover, of conjugal love. So the child got confused. Ye kya ho gaya? Earlier she was behaving like a mother, and now she is behaving like my wife. So he was getting confused. What is happening here? Such a degradation is not seen anywhere. How can mother behave like a wife? So Pradyumna, he asked that, oh mother, your attitude has changed. How come you are violating the proper feelings of mother? You are behaving like my mother and now you are doing like this. So Rati, she smiled and she told the whole story. She said, oh, you are the son of Lord Narayan and you appeared from the womb of Rukmini, and actually you are Kamadev. You have appeared in this world to kill Shambharasur, and Shambharasur knew. That's why he kidnapped you and threw you in the ocean, and your mother is now crying like a cow who has lost her calf. Now please kill this Shambharasur. And then this Mayavati, she told a very, very powerful mystical art that is called Mahamaya. Although Shambharasur was very, very powerful, but Mayavati, she was having lots of powers. She taught a very, very powerful mystic art that is called Mahamaya. And then Pradyumna, he approached Shambharasur and he called him to battle. He started calling ill names to Shambharasur. Shambharasur became very angry, offended by the harsh words of Pradyumna. He came and he started attacking. He whirled his club very swiftly towards Pradyumna, but Pradyumna, he caught hold of that and he knocked that club away. And then a fierce fight ensued. And then Shambharasur started showing the black magic. And by this magic, he appeared in the sky and he started releasing weapons on Pradyumna. Pradyumna, when Lord Pradyumna, he used this Mahamaya, which was given by this Rati or Mayavati. And with that, he destroyed all the illusions. Shambharasura started releasing hundreds of various types of weapons, but Pradyumna, he was so very expert and powerful, he destroyed all the weapons, and ultimately he forcefully cut off the head of Shambharasura. After Shambharasura was dead, he was not an ordinary demon, he was very, very powerful demon. And when Shambharasura was killed, all the residents from heaven, they started showering flowers, drums were being played, and everybody was happy. Then Mayavati, because she knew the art of traveling in the air, so she transported Pradyumna from Shambharasura's place to Dwarka. And Shukdev Goswami continues that, O king, when this Pradyumna appeared with Mayavati, it was looking like a cloud appearing with lightning, because Pradyumna was having complexion of Krishna, blackish complexion, and Mayavati was having the complexion, golden complexion, like a cloud, like a lightning. So then both of them, they descended from the sky. When all the women of the palace of Dwarka, when they saw Pradyumna having same bodily features as Krishna, the dark blue complexion, wearing the yellow garments, having same face, long eyes, red tinged eyes, long arms, they started thinking, oh, Krishna has come. So they all became shy and bashful, and they started running here and there to hide themselves, because they do not want to come in front of Krishna in public. And then from distance, they were observing this couple, and then they observed some differences between that person and Krishna, and then they realized, oh, he's not Krishna. So then slowly they approached Pradyumna and Mayavati. And then when Rukmini Devi, she heard all this, she also came, and when she saw Pradyumna, she started remembering her son. She started thinking, oh, I have also lost my son. And remembering her son, out of affection, she started pouring out milk from her breasts. She started thinking, who is this man? Who are his parents? If my son, if he is there somewhere, he must be of the same age. And then, as she's thinking all this, Krishna also came. And although Krishna is Supreme Lord, he knows everything, he didn't say anything. He just stood there watching the fun. Rukmini Devi, she's thinking, oh, maybe he is my child. He is remembering Krishna, resembling Krishna. His voice is also like Krishna. Then she concluded, yes, he must be my child, because I am feeling such a great affection. That's how a mother is. Mother can just, because she is Rukmini Devi, the supreme goddess, mother, she realized, understood, oh, he is my son. She's telling, oh, I am feeling such happiness. My left arm is twitching. It is a sign that for sure he is my son. As Rukmini Devi is guessing and Krishna is also there, he knew everything, but he remained silent. Narad Muni came. Narad Muni is such a wonderful personality. He, by the will of the Lord, he reaches wherever the need is there. So he came and he explained everything. The whole story he explained, how the boy was kidnapped by Shambharasura, and he knew everything from the beginning, but he didn't come previously. So that's how the great devotees are. They just play the role. Whatever is needed to assist in the pastimes of the Lord, they do it. They are ready to be insulted, they are ready to be chastised, they are ready to be criticized and misunderstood. Narad Muni, he is misunderstood so much. Many times he is misunderstood. Why he is, always doing wrong things. Why he is doing idhar ka baat udhar ka udhar? He's just assisting the pastimes of the Lord. Whatever Lord wants him to do, he does that. So never ever we should, question the activities of the great personalities. Vaishnavera kriya mudra vigyena bujhai. And for that matter, any Vaishnava, any sincere devotee who is chanting, following principles, sometimes they may act in weird ways which we may not be able to understand why this person is doing and behaving in such a way. And we start judging people and sometimes chastising them. That devotee's devotional service continues. But because we start offending those devotees, we may fall down. So that's why we should never ever criticize and judge others. That's why it is very important to mind our own business. Don't start thinking, oh, this person, why he's doing like this, why he is doing like that. What is your, what do you have to do with that? We have to just mind our own business. That is the greatest tapasya in devotee community. We don't have to poke our nose in any other person's business. Just, we have enough things to do in our life, right? Our devotional service we have to take care of. Why to think of others if we cannot do anything about it? So Narad Muni, following the instructions of Krishna, he does all the services very nicely. So he came, he described everything in great detail. And when all the ladies and the other citizens, they heard that, oh, lost son has come back. He was lost from the palace and now the son has come back. Everybody became so very joyful and happy. Devaki, Vasudev, Krishna, Balram, and all the other citizens of the palace, they became so very joyful. They greeted, especially Rukmini Devi. She was overjoyed to get her son back. So many days she was thinking he's dead. But now, seeing her son, she became so very happy. And all the Dwarkavasis, they declared, Providence has allowed this son to return to us as if from death. That is another very interesting thing, that these Dwarkavasis, although they know that Krishna is the Supreme Lord, but because of the pastime's sake, they forget all these realities sometimes. That is how the devotees are. We see in Vrindavan also. Devotees, all the Brajvasis, they know Krishna is Supreme Lord. Even gopis, they know that Krishna is the same Supreme Lord, Vishnu, who is there, appeared in front of us. But their love for Krishna is so much, they are so very absorbed in the pastimes of Krishna, they forget the supremacy of Krishna. And Krishna likes that. So all the Dwarkavasis, they were thinking, oh, Providence has allowed this to happen. And they were just happy. All the other women, Shukdev Goswami ends this story by telling that, whenever other women of the palace, they would see Pradyumna, their conjugal feelings would arise. Because he was looking exactly similar to Krishna. Only Rukmini Devi, she was never bewildered. Because she is the epitome of motherhood there. So she was never bewildered by the features of Pradyumna. She always had the same motherly Vatsalya bhav for Pradyumna. She was pure in the maternal affection. Therefore, she was not affected by any other feelings. So that is the end of this chapter. So we'll stop here. And then in the next chapter, Shukdev Goswami will describe the story of Shamantaka. So thank you very much. Hare Krishna. Srila Prabhupada ki jai. Grantra Srimad Bhagavatam ki jai. Anybody has any questions? Okay, so we'll stop here. Thank you very much. Hare Krishna.